First, Caitlin's taken. Now who else? Everybody's gonna realize sooner or later that I don't have my speed. I'm just a regular guy.
How are we gonna stop that guy?
The suit will only absorb one of Gray's punches. Anything more than that, you'll be like a piñata.
Please.
Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. So new Flash trailer. Don't worry, there's no breaks between now and the finale, but they're doing a new person from the comic books next week. The new character they're bringing on is called the Griffin. His name is Griffin Gray. In the comics, he was a friend of Bart Allen, so they're like a couple speedsters that they haven't got to on the show yet. When he debuted in the comics, he was just a normal friend of Bart Allen's who got powers during an accident. Someone attacked the car dealership that he was working at. He got special powers and then tried to use them to be a superhero, but it ended up getting twisted. And the side effect sounds a lot like what's going on with Velocity 9. The more he used his powers, the faster he aged. So you can kind of see what's going on in the trailer here. He steals Harrison Wells, he looks pretty young, but then by the end of the trailer, as he starts throwing stuff around with super strength, he's super old. So it was kind of a tragic story in the comics about how the friend of Bart Allen tried to do all these superhero things, but he just couldn't get it right. Every time he tried to save someone, someone got hurt, or when he tried to take down a villain, the villain ended up dying. So it was always a really big mess. And Jay Garrick, like the real Jay Garrick, who was also part of that storyline, just kept doing that adult thing, like when you mess up and one of your parents is like, okay, you don't have enough experience to do this right, you're not ready to be a hero. So this Griffin character just gets madder and madder. Eventually he tries to steal a bunch of equipment from Star Labs to try and reverse the aging process. So it's kind of like a mixture of what's going on with Zoom on the TV show. Zoom gets powers, tries to get faster, ends up harming himself, and since then has been forcing Team Flash to find a way to heal him. Speaking of which, we see that he's stolen Caitlin. Now the thing about that is that you kind of got a hint as to what's going on in Zoom's head at the end of last week's episode when he was getting ready to kill Barry and Caitlin's like, look, if there's any part of you that actually did care about me, please let Barry go. He hesitates and then gets really pissed off after he kind of like comes back to his senses, steals Caitlin, goes back to Earth 2. So there's still a little confusion as to which version of Hunter Zolomon was pretending to be Jay Garrick. Like at some point it was this future version who was just masquerading with the blue lightning. Other times it was the younger version of him with yellow lightning. So they haven't been really clear about that. But because it's the same person just from different points in the timeline, if the earlier version fell in love with Caitlin, the older version would feel it eventually. So however you want to think about it, I wouldn't recommend trying to go too crazy on it because it'll drive you nuts. This older version, some little part of him actually does care about Caitlin, but he's still really twisted. So what I'm hoping with this Caitlin storyline is that she won't be the damsel in distress because that's like the lamest storyline ever. Really hoping that she finds a way to save herself because it'd be a great injustice to that character just to have her sit around and wait for somebody else to save her. Like, oh, I guess I'm not a brilliant scientist. I can't find my way out of this. But the other stuff in the trailer is Barry just getting used to not having his powers. Like he's not fast enough to save his coffee mug from spilling on the ground and smashing into a million pieces. He has to take the bus all over town. If you've ever had to use public transit like a city bus, then you know how inconvenient that can be. So it's just all these things pouring salt in his wound. He lost his speed, and on top of that, he has to endure all these indignities. Like there's a supervillain with super strength that I have to take down. Cisco actually, in that short called The Chronicles of Cisco, was trying to beef his suit up. That's going to help him in this episode. If you imagine Team Flash as a raid, Barry is kind of like the tank. He can just soak damage because he heals so fast, but he's been weakened and the villain's crit rating is off the charts. So during the episode, Barry can only soak one punch. So what I think is going to end up happening is he will soak that one punch, but then he'll have to find some other way out of it. He'll have to appeal to the humanity in the Griffin, like, look, don't do this, you're a good person, you don't want to murder people. Caitlin will probably try to do the same thing with Zoom, but probably not be quite as successful. Usually when you look at the storylines in The Flash, the little bad, like this Griffin character, also informs the plotline with the big bad, the Zoom character. So thematically, a lot of the same things that are going on with the Flash and Griffin here will also be going on with Caitlin and Zoom. So just look out for that. So like if something happens with Barry, it also might serve as the solution for what's going on with Caitlin. I know a lot of you have been asking about the Kevin Smith episode. That's episode 21, so that's still a couple weeks away, but that's down the road. But they've been talking about the synopsis. Girder from season 1 is coming back. Remember, that was the villain that bullied Barry as a child. It was when he first learned to go supersonic. It was the first time he learned to do the supersonic punch. But I'm guessing because he died in that episode that it's going to be Earth 2 Girder, and he'll just be running amok. The synopsis also reads that Iris offers to serve as bait for Girder, so she's going to be a big part of the plot. There'll probably be some Barry-Iris moments because in last week's episode, they were teasing that she was thinking about her and Barry being together, like thinking about actually pursuing that, so they'll probably be building towards that in the finale. So if you're a big fan of Barry and Iris together, they might be in a place closer to that towards the end of the season. Remains to be seen how much of an actual couple they're going to be. The Flash doesn't really hang its hat on relationships in the way that Arrow has the last couple of years, so it's just to be determined as to like how much they lean into Barry and Iris being together. Because I know a lot of people want to see Bart Allen on the TV show eventually. You can't really do that till Barry gets together with Iris, because Bart Allen is their grandson from the future, so that's still like a long ways off. Like we'll get Wally West with Speed Force powers way before we ever get Bart Allen. And I don't think we're going to see Wally West get Speed Force powers till season 3. Maybe they'll tease that in the season 2 finale, because right now the whole action with Wally is just integrating him into the family. Like, hey, we just met you. Let's get to know you a little bit better. Wow, you're an engineer. You're working with engines. You really like things that go fast. So we're just like slowly wading into Wally's character. Right now, the Flash has to get his powers back. And I know a lot of you are like, how many episodes is it going to be before he's fast again? Because in the Flash Forward, in Arrow, when we're at the grave scene, he has powers again. It could be at the end of this episode, it could be at the end of next week's episode, but I definitely think it's going to happen in the next couple of weeks. But it is going to be a lot of fun, and they'll still have fun with Barry trying to figure out how to live without powers. There'll be all kinds of funny moments. It's not going to be a total downer. But the other big hype, you guys may know, Game of Thrones is back tonight, so be sure to subscribe to get my video. I'll be posting it after the episode airs. There's a Game of Thrones giveaway that's going on right now, which actually reminds me, there's a Flash giveaway. Congratulations to this week's giveaway winner. Caleb Gibbs, you win a $20 Amazon gift card. Be sure to private message me on the back end of my channel so I can get your contact details. It's just a $20 Amazon gift card. So new Game of Thrones tonight. I'll be posting updates on Twitter and Facebook. My Facebook is just Emergency Awesome, and my Twitter handle is Awesome Emergency. There are links for that in the description, so you can follow me there for updates on when my video is coming tonight. If you guys haven't seen it, while you guys wait for me to post that video, you can click here for like a big Game of Thrones Season 6 explainer for all the stuff you need to know before Episode 1. And you can click here for my Zoom explainer from last week's episode. Just a little confusing about the difference between Jay Garrick and Hunter Zolomon. So thank you so much for watching. Everybody, let's high five. I'll see you guys tonight.